Coronation Street will close its dramatic murder mystery storyline next week, as Theo Silverton's killer is finally exposed. After an explosive dinner party, a series of flashbacks will piece together what exactly happened on the night of the villain's death and reveal who put an end to his reign of terror. In tomorrow's hour-long episode, Sarah Platt invites Todd Grimshaw and Summer Spellman for dinner at her flat. Irritated that she forgot their date plans, Kit Green insists Maria Connor and Gary Windass join the party too. Still suspicious that Gary and Sarah are having an affair, fed-up Maria demands to know the truth. Meanwhile, having also noticed their shifty behavior, Kit has some theories of his own to float. It's not just harsh words and accusations that are thrown across the room, as glasses are broken and chairs overturned amid the chaos. The dinner party then takes a turn when the guests reflect on Theo's grisly demise, with viewers learning the full truth about that night. I feel like the viewers have been so patient with this whole whodunit storyline for months. I think they'll be incredibly excited to finally see who the murderer is, said Samia Longchamban, who plays Maria. It will definitely have been worth the wait because I don't think many people suspect who actually did it. The actors shared that they were able to do an organized read-through before filming the brilliant episode. It almost felt like we were doing a play, like a little spin-off drama for that period of time. It was a real luxury because we don't usually get that much time to spend on scenes together before we actually film them. Maria enters the dinner party looking for answers from her husband, but isn't satisfied with what she hears. Addressing whether this could be the end of the road for the couple, Longchamban teased that it could be. It's a lot to get through. If they can get through this, I feel like they can weather any storm, she hinted. They've been through a lot of trials in their relationship already, but this is definitely the most challenging thing they've ever had to navigate. The cobbles of Coronation Street had seen their fair share of secrets, betrayals, and long-buried truths clawing their way back to the surface, but nothing prepared Weatherfield for the storm that arrived with the shocking Theo Silverton killer reveal. What began as a slow-burning mystery, almost whispered through backroom conversations at the Rover's return, would soon explode into one of the most devastating twists in recent memory. And at the center of it all stood Theo Silverton, a man once believed to be harmlessly enigmatic, even quietly charming, now revealed as the architect of a crime no one saw coming. It all started with a death that didn't quite fit. Theo Silverton's downfall was seated in suspicion. When his close associate, Daniel Hargreaves, was found dead under mysterious circumstances near the canal, the police initially treated it as an unfortunate accident. A slip, a stumble, perhaps even bad timing in a dark and lonely place. But Weatherfield rarely deals in coincidence for long. Small inconsistencies began to emerge. A missing phone. A broken watch stopped at an unusual time. A faint trace of Theo's presence where he shouldn't have been. An overheard argument at the cafe. A brief encounter outside the factory. A shadowy figure seen leaving the scene just minutes after Daniel's last known sighting. At first, Theo seemed untouched by suspicion. He was composed, almost detached, offering condolences with a calmness that bordered on unsettling. I barely knew him, he told Sarah Platt when she gently asked about his connection to Daniel. But those who know Coronation Street know one truth. The quiet ones often carry the loudest secrets. Detective Carla Benson wasn't convinced. She had seen too many accidental deaths in Weatherfield turn into something far darker. As she dug deeper, Theo's carefully constructed life began to unravel thread by thread. A previous address in Leeds. A strained relationship with a former business partner who had also died under unclear circumstances years earlier. And most damning of all, a pattern of sudden disappearances surrounding Theo's orbit, always brushed aside as coincidence, always left unexamined. Still, nothing concrete tied him to Daniel's death. Not yet, then came the break that changed everything. A forgotten CCTV camera mounted above a shuttered hardware store captured a grainy but undeniable image. Daniel and Theo standing face to face near the canal on the night of the incident. Their body language told a story of tension. Daniel stepping back, Theo stepping forward. And then, a moment that froze the entire investigation. A sudden movement. Daniel stumbling. Theo standing still as the other man fell into the darkness below. It wasn't a clear murder, but it was enough to reopen the case. The street erupted with whispers. At Roy's Rolls, conversations stopped when Theo walked in. At the pub, Glasses were lowered mid-sip as eyes followed his every move. Even those who had defended him began to question what they thought they knew. But Theo Silverton wasn't finished. When confronted, he didn't panic. He didn't deny it outright. Instead, he did something far more chilling. He smiled. "You think you understand what happened that night," he said softly during a tense police interview, his voice steady, almost rehearsed. "You've built a story around shadows." It was the kind of response that made experienced officers uneasy, not because of what he said, but because of how little it revealed. But Weatherfield had learned over the years that silence is often a confession in disguise. As the investigation intensified, more fragments of truth surfaced. Daniel Hargreaves hadn't been an innocent bystander. He and Theo had been entangled in something darker than anyone realized. Financial disputes, illegal dealings, and a betrayal that ran deeper than friendship. It became clear that their final meeting wasn't accidental. It was arranged. The night of Daniel's death, Theo had not been acting in panic or rage, as initially suspected. Instead, evidence suggested premeditation. A carefully orchestrated confrontation designed to end a problem permanently. Still, Theo's version of events remained controlled and unerringly consistent. "I went there to talk," he insisted. He was the one who escalated things. But then came the final revelation, the piece that shattered any remaining doubt. A discarded audio file recovered from Daniel's damaged phone revealed fragments of their last conversation. Voices raised, accusations thrown, and then Theo's voice, lower, colder, stripped of emotion in a way no one in Weatherfield had ever heard before. "You should have walked away when you had the chance." A pause. A struggle. And then chaos. The recording cut out abruptly, but the implication was undeniable. The street that had once barely noticed Theo Silverton now couldn't look away. Residents who had shared drinks with him, laughed with him, even trusted him, were forced to reconcile the truth. The man among them had been hiding something monstrous in plain sight. When the police returned to arrest him, Theo stood at the door of his flat with a suitcase already packed. "I was wondering how long it would take," he said quietly, almost disappointed. There was no dramatic chase. No desperate escape. Just a man finally allowing the mask to slip. As he was led down the cobbles, past familiar faces frozen in disbelief, the weight of his actions seemed to settle over Weatherfield like a storm cloud that refused to move on. But even then, Theo's final words lingered, spoken not as a confession, but as a warning. "You don't really want the truth," he said. "Not all of it." And just like that, Coronation Street was left with another scar, another reminder that beneath the ordinary rhythms of daily life, something far darker is always waiting to surface. Because in Weatherfield, no secret stays buried forever, and no truth ever comes without consequences. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Coronation Street Scoop News Update.